Skeleton Key here. Welcome back to my channel. This is week 20 of 2024, and this is going to be pretty much, and I should have put it in the caption, but this is pretty much going to be a bout of books round 40 wrap-up video, because it was the week of May 13th through 19th, so that's bout of books. So yeah, I did not get as much done this last week as I had hoped. I just had so much other work to do, and yeah, everything just kind of piled on at once last week. So, but I did get some reading done, and I finished 3 books, and I'll go ahead and get to that. And yeah, so a lot of these count for both Mysterious Mayhem as well as another readathon or 2. So let's see what all we got here. Okay. And of course, if you are joining me live, you can hop into the chat and say hello or comment on any of these books, or tell me what you're reading or what you read last week and what you thought about it. And then if you're watching this on the replay as well, the comment section. And yeah, I'm behind on responding to comments. I do realize that. Last week I had intended to go back and respond to a bunch of comments, and I just did not get that done. So hopefully this week I'll manage to at least make some progress on that. But yeah, I do love to see the comments, and I like interacting with y'all in the chat or the comments. So that's always fun. I know I get some really good book recommendations that way. And so it's always good to know what everyone else is reading and what they think of it. So this is the first book that I finished last week, and I actually finished in time for the Stranger Than Fiction nonfiction book club. And this is An Immense World, How Animal Senses Reveal the Hidden Realms Around Us by Ed Yong. And yeah, this was pretty amazing. I gave it 5 stars. It was, now, I did listen to it on an audiobook, and there were things that went over my head. The nice thing about the audiobook is that, it wasn't like I needed this for a class or for my career or anything. I didn't have to understand this. So the things that did go over my head, the nice thing about an audiobook is that I'm kind of forced to move on to the next thing. I'm not allowed to sit there and obsess about what I don't know or don't understand. So it's really nice that it just kind of kept me moving right along. And I learned a lot about a lot. There were a few things here and there that was like, oh, hey, I knew that, or oh, I'd heard something to that effect. But most of this was new information to me, and it's just about how animals interact with and understand, make sense of the world, and it's amazing. It is absolutely crazy how much more there is out there that we as humans, our senses just don't give us. And yeah, and there's just some really bizarre stuff in here that I never would have dreamed of. And yes, this first thing, humans have 3 or 4 color detecting cones in their retinas, and I kind of knew that. Mantis shrimp have 16. And yeah, so it's like the mantis shrimp. Never would have thought that. But all sorts of stuff, and like, the deep sea creatures, and then also talks a lot about um the things that we don't know. uh there's as I've found in other books about octopuses, um there's so much about octopus senses and how their brains work and everything that we just really don't know. But I was amazed at what we do know. That was, and I keep using the word amazing and amazed, and it's, and I shouldn't overuse that word, but it really applies here. I also really like Young's his writing style. It was a little conversational, but not too much. It was just that he hit that really nice balance of making things really accessible without, like, constantly trying to crack corny jokes or something like that to engage the audience. It's like, no, we're plenty engaged. We're good. Yeah, it is extremely compelling and engaging. So and he won a Pulitzer for his reporting on COVID, um, back in, I think, was it 2020 or 2021 that he won the Pulitzer? I forget when. And but yeah, for his science reporting on that, on COVID-19. And so I will definitely read other things by this guy. And then Star Wars Volume 1, The Destiny Path. And this was a bonus borrow on Hoopla, and I was just kind of going through there, and it's like, I, let's just take a look at this. And then I realized it was, in the wake of the events following The Empire Strikes Back, it is a dark time for the heroes of the rebellion. So this is all the stuff that happens between The Empire Strikes Back and The Return of the Jedi. And I will admit that, I watched, the original trilogy, and actually Return of the Jedi was the first one I watched at the cinema, because my older brother was kind of a jerk. And my parents were not moviegoers, and so they relied on my older brother to advise them on which movies were appropriate for me, the baby of the family, to go watch. And so just because he could, he would always come back and say, "Oh, no, she shouldn't go see that. That's not appropriate." So I didn't get to watch the first two Star Wars movies. I did not get to watch those in the theater. But I did get to watch the Return of the Jedi. And so, yeah, I was totally lost. So my friends were like leaning over to me. It's like, "That's Lando Calrissian." I'm like, "I don't know who Lando Calrissian is." Yeah. But Lando obviously is in this graphic novel. Yeah, so this is episode or issues 1 through 6 collected together, and so into the Destiny Path. And then it takes you a little ways beyond. I'm not sure how many volumes there are in this collection. I don't understand how comic books work and numbering and volumes. And I mean, I get that, yeah, you get like 5 or 6 issues and put them together into a volume. I get that. But it's like, okay, so this is Star Wars Volume 1. But there's probably another Star Wars Volume 1 out there that is not the Destiny Path, that is something else entirely. And it's so confusing. Which is part of why I just really kind of avoid comic books and, graphic novel bind ups and things like that, because I'm just like, I don't know what's what. And Yeah. Aha. Let's see. Children of Ruin by Adrian Tchaikovsky was a great look into octopus. I do have that on my list for my TBR for next month. June for Genreland, that is that's I think cetaceans and cephalopods, I believe is the theme for Genreland in June. So yeah, I definitely have Children of Ruin on the list, and I've already read Remarkably Bright Creatures, and but one thing you might be interested in is that the that An Immense World talks a lot about spider senses. So, Children of Time, if you want to know about spiders. Yeah, apparently he pretty much nailed a lot of stuff in Children of Time. I mean, I listened to it on audiobook, and I'm an arachnophobe, so yeah, so the details I kind of didn't let sit in my brain too long for that book. But in An Immense World, Ed Yong does talk a lot about different spiders and how they, sense vibrations, and the eyes, the eyes and legs, and yeah, I have a hard time with that, and I even have a hard time with octopus because they're yeah, the suction cups that and the way too many arms, and yeah, but I digress. um but back to Star Wars. I really had a good time with this, and graphic novels and comic books, that format is always difficult for me, but this was actually pretty straightforward. um I I only give it 4 stars, and this is probably just a me thing, but I always find um the dialogue, and these things always just off. Always feels off to me. Not that the dialogue in the original 3 movies was, spectacular. But still, um, looking back on that, I'm like, yeah, that was pretty cheesy. Those movies were pretty cheesy, swashbuckling and all that. But as someone born in the 70s and child of the 80s, I have to love them. But beyond the original 3 movies, and then I did go see the the prequels in the theater, and then I watched one of I and then I just, they started coming out with all these side series, and then apparently there's all this animated stuff that was going on the whole time, and what was canon and what was not canon, and I don't know. And I just lost complete track of it. So anything that's come out in the past 10 years, I did see the Solo movie, and that was cute, but I don't know. Billy D. Williams is how do you replace Billy D. Williams? I don't know. Um, but I have fun with it, but at the same time, it's um, I don't know. It's just too much blah all over the place, and I can't get it into any sense of order, and so my little autistic brain is like, no, put them in, chronological order, or put them into some sort of order that I can digest, and then maybe I'll do it. So I found this. It's like, oh, it's anchored between episodes 5 and 6. I got this. And yeah, it's like there were a few things in there that it referred to that I'm like, I don't know what that means, because it wasn't in any of the things that I'd watched, or I hadn't actually caught it in the things I watched. And it, I don't know, but there was just so much, just like I felt at home with this. And so I have found volume 2, and I forget, let's see, Brian says, I thought Rogue One was good, not Star Trek good, but good. Okay. And Star Trek good that's another nebulous term for me, because I am out of the loop on all things Star Trek now, because I haven't even watched all of Deep Space Nine or Voyager. So I'm way behind on my Star Trek viewing. So I don't know. And I don't think I've even seen Wrath of Khan. I've seen bits and pieces of Wrath of Khan, but I don't think I've ever sat down and watched it all the way through. So yeah, so I don't know what Star Trek good means, but Rogue One, and I'm trying to remember which one Rogue One was, or if I've even seen it. I have just completely lost track of the Star Wars universe, and so this was nice for me. It's like, ooh, it's people I know. There's Lando Calrissian, there's Leia, there's Han, there's Luke, there's R2, and yeah, it's 3PO. It's like, yay! So yeah, I really enjoyed that. And let's see. So enough on that. But yeah, I'm continuing on. I will continue on with that, because yay, I found some Star Wars content that I can actually figure out where it belongs. Not Star Trek good means I'm trying to start a fight. Of course. All right. Anybody want to rumble with Brian over here? Because I've seen some Star Trek stuff that was not great. I don't know enough about it to talk intelligently. So The Fury. Okay, this was the third book that I finished last week. I almost DNF'd this one, and I'm glad I didn't DNF it, because I've okay, so this is, I didn't count this as my second chance author for there's I think there are at least 2 challenges that I need to give an author a second chance. But so I started reading The Silent Patient some years ago. I got a used copy at a library book sale, I think. And all right, the first chapter or so is about as far as I made it in that one. And I was just like, wow, this is really unrealistic writing. I mean, this is not how this would go. This is not how smoking. Yeah, there was like smoking in a very inappropriate location, and I forget what. It's just, there's all sorts of stuff that I'm just like, nope, that's not right. And just in the first chapter or so, and then I'm not going to spoil it, but in the first chapter or so, I didn't actually track it down to make sure that I got the main twist right, but yeah, it's like, oh, I see where this is going. And I kind of asked around, and people are like, yeah, that's the way that went. And so I'm like, I want to slog through this just to make sure that I was right on this point. And I don't know, let's just set it aside. So I haven't officially DNF'd The Silent Patient, but I think I probably will after reading this. Just to let you know, if you read The Fury before The Silent Patient, and I'm also told that there was another novel, Maidens, I believe is the title, that he also spoils the silent patient in it. And so, and I guess he's trying to connect these three books in the same world. And anyway, so he spoils the silent patient in his other two books. Like, what, dude? But so at the end of this, I'd have to go back and look at that first chapter again. But yeah, I'm pretty sure, the spoiler was what I figured out in that first chapter. So of the silent patient. But anyway, the Fury, and it's like set on this Greek island. Well, the main action is set on this Greek island that I guess this Lana Farrar, reclusive ex-movie star, one of the most famous women in the world. Anyway, I guess she owns this island, and so she does this Easter thing on her Greek island. And so it's, at first you think, oh, it's going to be, and then there were nuns set up. But no, it really, really, really wants to be Glass Onion. The second Knives Out movie. It really wants to be that. And he was trying so hard for it to be that. And yeah, he adds all these layers and layers of flashbacks. And so it's like, it's supposedly set on this Greek island, but I feel like most of the book is set in London or thereabouts, with all, the theater stuff and all that. So it's not only trying to be the Glass Onion, but it's also trying to be, I don't know, Death Trap and or Sleuth. Both classic plays. Michael Caine had roles in both movies. And so I kept picturing this guy, this narrator, Elliot. I kept picturing him as Michael Caine, because that's obviously what the author was going for. So a young Michael Caine. Yeah, Elliot Chase. So I started reading this for a book club, and I can't remember which one. Book Troop, I think. And online book club on BookTube. Gabby Reed. So yeah, I don't think I've got her channel listed below yet. But anyway, I was listening to it for that, and the only way I could get it was my Spotify. I have a Spotify account, and so I had like 15 hours, and I had so I listened to it for several hours, and I was just not impressed. It was this long, rambly thing, and I'm like, even though I didn't know what was going on, I was like, was there exploding hydrogen? Not that I noticed, but that would have vastly improved this book. But then, Ryan Johnson he and his lawyers might have had something to say about that. But as it was, no, it was not out and out plagiarism. He was just trying to make, trying to capture the vibe more than anything. And I don't know, but the first part, and it's all Elliot Chase, this Elliot Chase guy, just monologuing, and I had no idea what was going on, but I was like, this sounds like he's trying to do this, and yeah, I bet this is how it ends. And yeah, I called it, even not knowing what was going on. And then he wraps it in all these layers like an onion of, flashbacks and It's like, well, I should have told you this at the beginning, but I didn't because I'm an unreliable narrator. Great. So all of this, and then there was this narrative trick that the author was using that I think I understand what he was going for. And I kind of don't blame him for it. At the same time, it just didn't work. At least not for me. And reading reviews, it didn't work for a lot of people. But it's, he's telling this in first person, but he's actually he's head hopping. He's going into people's perspectives as he tells this story. And I don't know. I gave it 2 stars because I felt like he was trying to do something interesting, even if it was kind of derivative. And, sort of the Glass Onion Death Trap Sleuth mashup is not an awful idea. It's just I don't feel like he executed it well, but I'm gonna give him some points for, actually trying to do something kind of cool and with a callback to some older work. But overall, I didn't have a great time with this. For the most part, it was plodding, and yeah, it was just a slog to listen to, even, on, like, I think I had it on 1.8x speed. But yeah, so I went, so I had set it aside for quite a while, but then I was coming up on my renewal and I had a bunch of hours left on my Spotify. So I was like, oh, let's just go ahead and finish this off. And so, yeah, I did. That was that. I wasn't, it turns out it does not count for Asian readathon. I was like, is Cyprus European or Asian? I couldn't. So I looked it up, and there are things that say, well, geographically it's West Asian, but culturally it's European. And then I looked on the Asian readathon, the lists of the geographical, and Cyprus, Alex Michaelides is not. He was born in Cyprus, so he's a Cypriot British author, and he does not count as Asian for Asian readathon because Cypriot is not on the list. So there's that. But I think, did I count this? I'm trying to think. I don't think I counted it for Alias, or maybe I did. I don't remember. Because we do find out, and I don't think it's a spoiler, that Elliot Chase my name is Elliot Chase. The narrator's name is Elliot Chase. That's not his real name. But I can't remember. I think he presents it like it's a big spoiler or something, or a big twist. It's like, no, that's not terribly interesting. But anyway, it does count for Mysterious Mayhem because there's a mystery of sorts in the book, and there is lots of chaos. It's very chaotically written. I think on purpose, but there you go. So those are the 3 books that I finished last week. But I also try to keep track of books that I made progress on during the week for Bout of Books. So let's go on to, let's see, Deathless Divide. I did make some progress on that. I'm still enjoying that. Nothing really new to report on that. It's perking right along and going well. And that, of course, counts for Zombie-thon, Zombie Awareness Month, as well as the undead character, because there are plenty of undead characters in this book. As in, and if you haven't read this, do read the first book, which is Dread Nation. Read that one first. And it's got lots of undead creatures in it. That was not what I was planning to do. Okay. That might be interesting to look at on Thursday. Let's see. Is he dead? And I have my paper copy here somewhere. I can't find it, so I put this up here. But that is the play, and this was the one that I was originally planning to use for the character using an alias for the mysterious prompt, but I think I've used something else. I can't remember which book. It might have been The Fury, or it might have been Unsolved. Oh, I've got The Fury twice. That's what. So what was The Fury supposed to... Don't know what I did there. But anyway, okay, so is he dead? This is a play. I'm probably about halfway through. I'm reading this very slowly. It's not long at all. It's 101 pages. And that includes all of the introductory material. And then there are some notes at the back as well. Also talking about how much of this is Twain, how much of this is Ives. And, oh, yeah, I started to fix it. And then it, like, the website timed down on me. So, yeah, they had a bunch of, I think I had it on screen on Thursday. They had a bunch of versions that, they had the 3-act and the 2-act all mushed together in the same section. And I'm like, no. David Ives adapted this, and I went in to fix it, and, I separated this one out, and I went in to fix it, and then it glitched on me. So got to go try that again. And then, let's see, Unsolved. So this was another one of those bonus borrows. That's what they call them. And this is Unsolved by Heather Critchlow. There are lots of books with the title Unsolved. So if you are interested in this, then you need to remember to look for Heather Critchlow as the author. Yeah, this was really good. There were some things that I'm just like, there was stuff that I was like, I think somebody should have figured this out 30 years ago or 35 years ago. It's a cold case. And it's 2 cold cases in one. It's sort of an interesting construction there. And I'm not entirely certain, but I suspect that I know there's a second book in the series, and I believe a third one is coming out soon, or maybe just came out. This is from 2023. And then the Unburied is the title of the second book in the series. I have not read it. I just finished this one. I will probably pick up Unburied. It's Cal Lovett. And again, this isn't a spoiler. Cal Lovett is not his birth name. He changed his name to Cal Lovett. And it's not really a spoiler. It's not stated up front, but you find out pretty early that, along with the fact that his sister Margot, who disappeared, he was 9 years old when his sister Margot disappeared. And so he's now a podcaster who does a true crime podcast, finding justice for the families of missing people. And so there's this underlying case of his missing sister. And I'm not sure I'm not sure how old Cal is, and I'm not sure how long ago. For some reason, I got it into my head that she also disappeared in 1986, same as this Layla. I think Layla. I can't remember her name. I keep wanting to say Layla McFarlane, and I know it's not right. If it is right, that's weird because anyway, if you're an SAI, you know why that's weird. But I keep wanting to say Layla McFarlane. But it's mainly about this other girl who went missing in 1986. But there are also all these threads of his sister going missing, and he's kind of obsessed with that. But he's also been interviewing this serial killer who is suggesting that he killed his sister, but he won't come right out and say it. And, you know, he's on death row, but he's one of those kind of, well, basically he's an asshole. And so he's, you know, trying to get under Cal's skin. And then there's all this stuff. Then he's got a daughter who looks apparently a lot like his missing sister, Margot. And so that kind of plays into the story. And of course, things aren't going great with his wife for a number of reasons. But anyway, there's a whole lot going on here, but it actually flows pretty well. It sounds like one of those things. It could be an absolute mess, but it isn't. It's pretty well put together. I kind of took exception to some of the stuff in the original investigation. Actually, both original investigations. I'm like, really? I mean, I know it was a long time ago, but still, I think y'all would have figured this out. But, and I also really, you know, there's some evidence that comes in later, and I'm like, I guess that's possible. It's not likely, but, and, you know, they do acknowledge that it's not likely, but, you know, it's, you know, suspension of disbelief, I suppose. But overall, yeah, I really liked it. I plan to read the second one in the series, so that's good. And then I do have a couple copies that I was able to find of things that I read. So let's see, I'll stop sharing. Okay. Oh, there was no exploding hydrogen in anything I read, I think. So yes, I did make some progress on the Flight of the Falcon. I think I'm gonna take this dust jacket off to keep it from disintegrating even more. It's kind of a slow moving story. But it's I don't know. I'm kind of enjoying the slow ascent or descent. I'm not sure which it's going to be, but the slow movement. I'm enjoying the pace. It's a nice leisurely pace. And that will, I know it'll count for Mysterious Mayhem. I don't know if it'll count for a prompt, but it will count for Daphne du Maurier. So that's the main reason I picked it up, was for Daphne du Maurier. And then also for Asian Readathon, and I ended up not going. I just wasn't feeling up to sitting upright for a while. But the Temporal Textual Talks, which is the virtual steampunk book club, we were reading The Sea is Ours. This is Tales of Steampunk Southeast Asia. And so I've read a few of the stories in here, and so far I'm really enjoying them. They're, I don't know, it's, you know, got all this Asian mythology and but fused with steampunk technology, and it's just a fun ride. So far, yeah, I would recommend that one. But I'll let you know when I finish that one. I probably won't get that finished this month. So I'm actually not going to count it for Asian Readathon, because I'm only going to count actual novels. instead, or, if I do finish it, I will count the entire collection as, by an Asian author. But because all of the authors are of Asian heritage. But I just being realistic, I don't think I'll finish it in time because I'm going to be focusing on some complete novels for Asian Readathon. I think I've got The Vegetarian up pretty soon. Maybe I'll be reading that later this week, which does not sound like my kind of thing, but it's short, so hopefully I'll get through it. If I understand correctly, it has quite a bit of body horror in it. That's what I'm referring to. So, but that's where I am with that. And so I did get some progress made, and I even finished 3 books for Bout of Books round 40. And I forget when round 41 is. It'll be a few months down the road. So let's see. I think it's just Bout of Books. Let me just check real quick. And well, I'll pop it. I'll find the link to Bout of Books and I'll pop it down in the description below. Yeah, anybody got any questions or want to talk about what you're reading? And but if not, oh, this actually went longer than I was expecting. This to only go about half an hour, but yeah, I've got I need to get finished. Oh, I did. Oh, that's what the other one was. I did start reading. What's it called? Autobiography of Red by Anne Carson, and that is for a book club. The library's queer book club is tonight, and it's reading queer authors and queer literature. And I'm almost done with that, and it's fascinating use of language. I really enjoy the use of language. I'm not really sure what's going on, and I think that may be because I don't have a really solid grounding in the classics, because this is sort of a retelling of Greek. I don't know if it's mythology or legend, or I don't know, but it like, and then it connects with Peruvian mythology, I think, and it's really fascinating. It's a novel in verse. It's not an actual autobiography. It's a fictional. It's a novel, or maybe even a novella. It's pretty short. I don't know how many pages. I'm listening to it on audiobook, but I can't, so I can't see the verse. I kind of wish I had gotten the Kindle version or the, ebook or even a hard copy of it, but to kind of see how the verse is laid out on the page. But it's a novel in verse, and it, very much takes from Greek myth or Greek legend. And so I think a lot of it is just, I don't really have the background to properly understand and appreciate this, but the language, just the poetry of the language is really amazing. So if you have an interest or a background in the classics, you might want to take a look at that one, especially if you appreciate good poetry. So I don't see any other questions or comments on the screen. So I will close out, and hope to see you on Thursday for my sprints, my productivity and reading sprints for Mysterious Mayhem. And if you're, like I said, if you're watching this on replay, let me know in the comments how Mysterious Mayhem is going for you, if there are any other readathons that you're doing, and yeah, keep me posted, and I will talk at you later.